Hello everyone, it's Fieler. So another collab means another set of challenge maps, so welcome to the first challenge of the Cold Steel collab, Corrupted Mutation. So this challenge is actually pretty easy. You just need to read the skills carefully and you should be completely fine. So similar to some of the first challenges we've been seeing the last couple events, this map uses preset units, which is Reen and Altina, and it acts as a sort of introduction to how Reen and Altina should be played, which is kind of odd because the banner for Cold Steel has already ended, which is similar to the problem that the Lodos War challenges had. So they're just showing off how good Reen is to us, but I can't pull for him anyway, so thanks to them. So the first mechanic you should be aware of is the fact that Gizarov will lose defense for every debuff on him. This is why you saw me open up the fight with Reen and Altina both using huge AoE skills that do a lot of debuffs. I just want to immediately lower his defense and start doing damage to him. Gizarov himself actually doesn't do that much. He will summon an ad at the end of every turn and also do an AoE. The AoE will increase in damage as the fight goes on, but this is not really a concern as long as you perform the other mechanics correctly as well as use skills on Reen often enough so that he heals himself using his talent. And that brings us to the main mechanic you need to watch out for, I would say, which is the slimes. So you just saw me end my turn with being in range of one of these slimes. This is the healing slime. As the name suggests, it heals everybody within 3 blocks of itself when it dies. And this includes Gizarov himself, so you need to make sure to kill these far away from him. All of these slimes can be easily killed by Reen on a counter, which is why you saw me handle it the way I did. They usually can also be killed with an AoE from either Reen or Altina, although Reen will sometimes not one-shot them if he hasn't gained that many stacks yet, so be aware of that. Anyway, aside from the healing slime, there is a fake healing slime that will explode and deal damage within 3 blocks. This one does enough damage that I can easily end a run, so be careful about that. There is a chaos slime that debuffs within 2 blocks, making you weaker to AoE attacks, which includes of course Gizarov's own AoE at the end of each turn, so you don't want to get hit by this one either. And finally, there is a time slime, which is helpful, and it gives you the clock effect within 5 blocks of itself when it dies. So for example, right here you can see there is a fake healing slime to the south, and a real healing slime to the west, so I need to handle them accordingly. Now as I said, there is a time slime that will clock your characters within 5 spaces when it dies, and because of this slime, you don't need to act too conservative with your AoE skills here. As for how to partition them, it makes sense to only use Azure Flame Slash on Gizarov. This skill immediately places up to 3 debuffs on Gizarov, so obviously because you want to lower his defense for this fight, you do want to use it as often as you can. Altina's Blade of Divine Light and Sword of Demise can both do a lot of debuffs as well, but I think it's worth noting that Sword of Demise does have a 4 block spam, and for this reason sometimes you might want to hold it a little bit, so you can catch slimes when it's AoE while also staying out of range of any explosions they might be doing. For that same reason you can consider holding onto the line skills of both of the characters so that you can hit slimes that are far away for safety purposes. So for example, you can see here that I'm using a line skill to keep myself away from this fake healing slime as it explodes and deals damage. And one last note about cooldowns is that, of course, if you want to, you can strategically try to get Altina killed, but obviously that has a lot of risk attached to it and I wouldn't recommend trying that. One final note I will make about the slimes is that they do spawn randomly on a number of preset spawn points on the map, so unfortunately you cannot just follow this guide move for move, you're going to have to actually learn the mechanics. So of course the use of both Reen and Altina's talent is important as well. As you can see, I am using Reen's talent to heal himself up quite often, which is very important because you do want Reen to take the enemy phase from Gizarov most of the time, and you generally want to move Altina second so that Reen can get the defense buff during the enemy phase. So like right here you can see that I'm moving Altina second so that I can put Altina's talent onto Reen for the enemy phase. It just gives a bit of magic defense for Reen on the enemy phase, which isn't a huge boost, but it can add up over time. And with that, that should be most of the mechanics for this fight. Really the important thing here is to make sure you read which slimes are spawning where and to move your characters preemptively to attack them if needed. So since another time slime just appeared, I know I can go ham with my skills here and just burn all my cooldowns and then just get them back immediately. So once again here, I'm using a line skill to destroy the fake healing slime so I can stay out of range, and then I run Altina all the way around to the top of Gizzeroth to do her line skill. This only hits Gizzeroth, but it does two functions. First, it allows me to roll for the silence, and it also allows me to place Ring as the only target in range for the slime to attack on enemy phase. So unfortunately this time the healing slime is too far away for Ring to walk into the healing range, but that is not a huge deal because, as mentioned, Ring can heal himself using his own skills. And of course I don't have the time to allow the slime to move again because it is just going to move into Gizzeroth range at this point and I won't be able to do anything. So this situation right here is a good example of how you can use Gizzeroth to body block the other slimes from reaching you, and then make them bunch up in the middle if you have to, and you can just blow them all up with one AoE at once if you want. So right here I'm about to get really lucky. I'm going to get the fixed damage debuff from Rain, which of course does a ton of damage to Gizzeroth because it is an HP percent based damage. But as you saw, this is only turn 10 and I'm at a pretty good pace. Even if I had not gotten it, I would have easily finished this fight in time. So that's going to be it for the first Cold Steel challenge, which is Corrupted Mutation. I'll see you guys next time.